Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play West of Loathing, Reckoning at Gunn Manor. In the previous episode, we went on a bit of an exercising spree, helping many ghosts find peace and move on to the afterlife. There are still 6 left, and you may notice that we're not where we left off last time. That's because I figured I may as well skip the walking and go straight to the cellar where we can make a silencer. You look over the tools on the bench. You can definitely make a silencer here. You've got the right size tin can, you've got some stuffing of the appropriate density. Make a silencer. You drill a hole in each end of the can and carefully remove the beans. Then you soak the stuffing in a vat of acoustic dampening chemicals and carefully jam it into the can. Nice. And I may as well silent my pistol. This is a can of stuffing designed to make it much easier for you to shoot people at Thanksgiving dinner without getting caught. You affix the silencer to your barrel of your newfangled pistol. Silver-plated, silented. Oh yeah. It doesn't actually do anything in terms of stats, if I recall correctly, but it just makes it quiet. Now then, we managed to find that plaid skirt earlier, so let's head to the pantry in order to take care of it. Ah, I was hoping they'd have a comment on the photo. I still can't find any legless pants. Have you come across any? How about this skirt? Look, I understand that genderization of clothing maybe shouldn't be a thing, but I'm kind of old-fashioned. Did I say skirt? I meant kilt. What's a kilt? It's a special kind of foreign legless pants. For men. Here, try it. Ghost tries on the kilt. Hey, that's really nice. Thanks a lot. With his pants problem solved, he dissipates into the ether. Good luck. All that's left are the ghosts on the 2nd floor and one on the 3rd floor. You know, I think it's about time we learn about our employer. It certainly wouldn't hurt to know more about her. Oh, hi! Thanks again for freeing me from that book. You still kind of have marks when the engraving's pressed into your face. I'm hoping they fade with time, but if not, I can always quiz myself while shaving. So, what do you do here? I provide information. Want some? Sure. Great, that's what I'm here for. What would you like to know? What can you tell me about Mrs. Gunn? Her full name is Teresa Olivia Gunn, but informally she goes by Terry. She was born in 1847 to Reginald and Priscilla Gunn. Her mother was a mathematician and founding member of the Western Society of Mathematicians in 1870, and her father was a catapult operator in the Unpleasant Disagreement of 1862. She invented the gun in 1869 at the age of 22. There's a photograph of her on the wall there accepting a prestigious inventing award. She married her husband Dan 20 years ago. In 1875, they had 3 daughters. Interesting. Other than that, there's not a lot we know about her. She's a very private person. Especially after she gave the house to the Historical Foundation and locked herself in her room 4 years ago. Anything else you'd like to know about? Yeah. Tell me about Mrs. Gunn's family. Well, let's see. She married Dan Staple Remover in 1875. He was the inventor of the staple remover. Did you know that? They'd met at an inventors convention 3 years previously. Dan decided to take her last name because he had wanted to call his invention Office Chompers. And he was always a little annoyed that people called it after him instead. They had 3 daughters named Dorothy, Blanche, and Rose. Well, that's nice. Unfortunately, Dan vanished mysteriously in 1889, shortly after Rose was born. Nobody knows what happened to him, although it's generally assumed he was killed by bandits while he was on the road for Gunn Industries business. Then all 3 of the girls went missing the year after. They went to summer camp and were just never heard from again. No ransom note or anything. Mrs. Gunn was never the same after that, naturally. She started blaming it on ghosts, though as far as I know, there's been no ghost activity here until just the other day. Anything else you'd like to know about? Yeah, tell me about Gunn Manor. Isn't it amazing? Mrs. Gunn had it built in the mid to late 70s when she and her husband decided to start a family. It was finished in 1877. It has 8 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, plus a whole host of modern conveniences like electric lights, a coal-fired boiler, and a bowling alley. My personal favorite room is the library, but I guess you knew that one already. Mrs. Gunn donated the house to the Historical Society in 1891 with the provision that we keep the place properly maintained and send meals up to her room in the kitchen dumbwaiter. She's actually never come out of her room since then, although she still communicates via telephone or the house intercom system. Anything else you'd like to know about? Yeah. What can you tell me about rocks? Great, I know a ton of stuff about rocks, specifically igneous rocks and granite in particular. Did you know geologists call granite massive because it doesn't have any internal structures? And also because it comes in great big lumps? I did not know that, bye. It's just a bunch of random stuff. And may as well check out the snack stuff. Thanks to you, the snack counter is now staffed. Yep. But our stomach is full. Still haven't found the souvenir guy. And of course, a bunch of other stuff. But it requires stomach capacity, which we don't have. Oh, it's you. My hero and savior. Leave me alone, I'm busy. Can't remember where the photo guy is. Oh well. I guess all that's left is to head up to the second floor and start taking care of the ghost there. First up, the library. Gallery's gonna take a while. Hey, I know how to make guns quiet. Shh, how many times do I have to tell you? Sorry, but I know how to make guns quiet. Oh really, can you show me? You nod, and quickly and quietly leave the library, gather materials for a silent tour, and head to the lab to craft it. You then return to the library and present it to the librarian. I invented this thing that makes guns really quiet. Oh, how marvelous. Finally, I can rest in peace knowing that libraries will now be safe from the noise of gunfire. It is only in an atmosphere of quiet that true joy dare live. Bertrand Russell. And with that, she dissipates into nothingness. Hey, he isn't famous yet. Well, whatever. Row upon row, investigate. You have 2 books you can put back, Fun Law and Dueling Banjos. They go on different shelves, so you can't do them both at once. Fun Law, Basics of Gun Law. We'll definitely give this a shot. Boo. And Duel Law. Okay then, well, gotta read up on these. Duel Law perk. +5 pistol attack damage. You learn about all of the laws pertaining to dueling. Turns out when 2 guys want to murder each other in a fair and reasonable manner, things get legally tricky. Then you put the book back on the shelf. And Gun Law. You learn basically everything there is to know about gun law. Now you can be the prosecuting attorney and defense counsel in addition to judge, jury, and executioner. Gun Law. Another +5 to pistol attack damage. After that, you put the book back on its shelf. Time to dispense some justice. But first, I'm going to take care of the other ghosts on here before I have to deal with her, because she's... well, it's rather convoluted dealing with her. Hello again, dear. Were you able to find me a new eye? Yes, kind of. Oh, how kind. Thank you very much. She takes the glass eye from you and puts it in whereupon it falls through here and onto the floor. She tucks it, she picks it up. Oh dear, it's a little too physical. Yeah, I wasn't certain that this would work. Don't worry, this is easily fixed. Do you have a hammer I can borrow? Hammer? Yes. That'll do nicely, thank you. She takes the hammer, places the glass eye on her desk, and smashes it with a precise crack. Ah, perfect. She gives you back the hammer and plucks the ghost of the glass eye from the shattered fragments. After blowing the dust off of it, she tucks it into her eye socket. That fits much better. Does it work? Well, now that you mention it, no, I can't actually see with it. Well, it is the ghost of a glass eye, after all. Oh dear, this won't do at all. What a shame. You know, I don't really understand why your eye is still missing. What do you mean? Well, I always assumed that when someone loses an arm or something, it just sticks around as an arm ghost. That's why people say they can feel it itching sometimes, because you've still got an arm there, but it's a ghost. It's even called phantom limb syndrome, so logically if the rest of you becomes a ghost after that, it would hook right back up. But then where did my eye go? Maybe it got pushed back inside your head? The ghost thinks about it for a second, then shakes her head. No, that seems... Wait. What? I do think I felt something just then. She shakes her head again. My goodness gracious. Keep going. It's like one of those puzzles where you try to get the marble in the hole. She bends her head forward and continues shaking it. You can almost hear a faint rattling sound and then a plop. She straightens back up, blinking with 2 eyes. You did it! Well, I'll be. Thank you so much, dear. I never would have thought of that. No problem. Have a nice time in heaven or wherever. The ghost gives you a friendly wave and fades out of sight. Well, that's that then. Did you figure out how to make a good exploding cigar? One that doesn't turn fun into a funeral? Ugh, I can't even make basic wordplay funny. Well, it was kind of clever, but I think this is what you're looking for. That's an exploding cigar? Yep, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but not this time. What did you use for the explosive? I found a really small firecracker, just big enough to blow up the cigar without also blowing up someone's face. Also without the, violent lead projectile. You're a genius. Please, let me see it in action so I can finally rest. Light it up! And with that, only 2 ghosts remain. And the one we're going to be dealing with is rather convoluted. Oh wait, I just remembered. This guy's the photograph guy. Objection! Huh? What are you objecting to? Your face! Overruled! What's your problem anyway? Bah, it's legal stuff. You'd never understand. In fact, I think you'll find I'm quite the conversant in the finer points of our justice system, particularly as it pertains to guns and gun-related activity. Horace Radish, you're all trousers and no briefs. Oh yeah, well just try me, smart lady. Fine. Obviously you aren't going to leave me alone, so just ask your questions. I'm Talia Hunt, speaking for the record. State your name, occupation, and cause of death. Felicity Wainwright, defense attorney, lost a court-approved trial by combat. What? Trial by combat has been outlawed for like 15 years. You don't understand that ghosts don't visually age as time passes, right? Oh, right. So, your client called for a trial by combat, which meant you and the prosecutor had to face off in a duel. That's correct. And you lost. She squints at you. Are you acting dumb to try and throw me off guard? I withdraw the question. Why are you stuck as a ghost? Because although trial by combat was already well out of fashion at the time, it was still a valid legal recourse. I should have been prepared for the possibility, but I wasn't. My lack of training resulted in an innocent man being executed for murder. Oof, how was he executed? Hanging, I assume? Obviously, I wasn't around to see it. So to release you, I'd need to prove that the loss wasn't your fault. The trial duel was completely fair and above board. There's no chance of there having been foul play on the prosecutor's part. My loss was my own. Then I'd have to prove your client was actually guilty, and therefore your feelings of responsibility are misplaced. The look she gives you is hard and cold. Look, you think you know a thing or two about the law? How about you tell me the first rule of being a defense attorney? Don't make fun of the judge's beard. You have to trust and believe in your client. If you don't believe your client is innocent, you'll never convince anyone else he is either. So if I want to convince you he is guilty, you'll have an uphill fight, gal. You are essentially playing prosecutor here. Alright, tell me about the case. My defendant was Matthew Guilty Vic McCready, accused of murder of Victor Vic Timsbury at noon on June 18, 1878, in Reno. I have some questions. Go ahead. Your client was actually named Guilty? Come on. Names don't mean anything. I once had a client named Ike Ilda Guy, and he was totally innocent. Someone's actual legal name, sure, but nicknames are usually given with some sort of basis. You never heard of a really tall guy called Tiny, or a fat guy called Slim? Arguably, the nickname Guilty would reinforce my client's innocence. That's totally absurd, but I'll let it rest for now. What was the cause of death? Timsbury was shot through the heart with a .45 caliber revolver. And did McCready own such a gun? Yes, he was holding it at the time, and subsequent examination showed that it had been recently fired. Are you messing with me? Any further questions? Yes. This was at noon precisely? Yes, that was confirmed by witnesses. Also, McCready owned a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hours. There were witnesses? About half a dozen of them. I am pretty sure there is something you aren't telling me. I'm not obligated to play my hand face up, Miss Prosecutor. Okay, then. Go ahead. Hang on a second. Shot with a pistol, in front of witnesses and exactly new. Was this a duel? So you can add 2 plus 2 after all. Well done. Well, as luck would have it, I've just recently read a whole book about duel law. What? Why? No reason. I just happened across it in the library and thought it might be interesting. You read an entire code of law you found at random, just for the heck of it. Yep. Let me do a quick review. A duel is legal provided it's between exactly 2 people at a specific prearranged time and place using the same or at least essentially similar weapons, and they have to either face each other down and quick draw at the appointed moment or do the 10 paces turn and fire routine. Is that right? That's the gist of it, yes. So I guess let's start with you telling me the facts of the case, and I'll interrupt you rudely if I have any questions. Alright, but if you push me on trivial nonsense, I'll get mad and you'll have to start over. That seems fair. Go ahead. McCready and Timsbury got into an argument in the saloon of the evening of June 17th, apparently. Timsbury accused McCready of cheating at poker. Go on. The bartender yelled at them to take it outside, but since it was dark out, they agreed to meet for the duel the next day. And that would be the 18th, you said. Yes, June 18th, 1878. Okay, go on. Well, the next day they showed up shortly before noon and squared off about 30 feet from each other. When noon struck, McCready fired fast enough that Timsbury didn't get his shot off on account of having his head shot off. It's pretty much long and short of it. I'm going to have to ask for some more details on that. Go ahead. He fired exactly at noon? Yes, as soon as the church bells started ringing. So McCready fired as soon as the church bells struck noon. Yes, that is just what I said. Have you got a point to make, or are you just stalling for time to think? Yeah, I have another question. Actually, I'm lost. Can we start over? Fine. I know what it is. You're supposed to bring up the noon thing. You also mentioned McCready's pocket watch. Yes, he had a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hour. Is that important for some reason? I guess not. Let me ask something else. You said there were witnesses. About half a dozen of them watching from across the street or peeking through half-open shutters. Were they interviewed? Yes, and their stories lined up with what I just told you. Were any of them known associates of McCready? I'm not aware of any of them being actual friends with McCready, but he was a local, and a lot of people knew him. She gives you a suspicious look. Wait a minute, just what are you going with? Objection! Any of those people could have interceded on McCready's behalf. What, and done what exactly? Well, they could have shot Timsfield with a more accurate weapon, like a rifle, and then there would have been 2 gunshots hurt instead of just 1. Well, was he tested for poison? I know what it is, you're supposed to bring up the time. Just not sure how to trigger that. Let's go. Yes, that seems fair. Go on. Go on. Details. Right, exactly at noon. See, McCready had a .45 caliber single-action Army revolver. Timsbury had an older .36 caliber cap and ball Navy revolver, which he loaded with paper cartridges instead of packing gunpowder by hand. Those are significantly different weapons. Modern cartridge revolver versus an antique cap and ball loader, ridiculous. That antique was in production in 1873 and was considered one of the most reliable and popular 6-shooters in the territories. Furthermore, the restriction against differing weapons in a duel is about pistols versus rifles, or the proverbial knife in a gunfight. Or, as a more recent example, a nitwit trying to argue law against a professional attorney. Maybe there are some other questions I need to ask. Well, like I said, I played this months ago, so some of the details... Yeah. What day of the week was this? Monday, June 17th, 1878. Well, that makes sense. Everyone's always a bit grumpy on a Monday. They should make the weekend Sunday and Monday instead. Then you can spend Monday relaxing instead of having to go to work. But then, yeah, whatever. Do you have any other questions? No, go on with the story. I mean, testimony. Bartender yelled at them to take it outside, but since it was dark out, they'd agreed to meet for a duel the next day. And that would be the 18th, you said. I have a question. Did they set a specific time for the duel? Yes, high noon. Figures. Why is it always high noon? Tradition, I suppose. And since the sun is at its highest in the sky, everything's brightly lit and there aren't many shadows, so that's good for a gunfighting. Makes sense. Plus, you can go have your duel on your lunch break. Let me ask something else. Never mind. I'm gonna have to ask for details on that. He fired at exactly noon. So McCready fired as the church bell struck noon. Objection! Yeah, what the heck? McCready fired at the wrong time. What are you talking about? He fired exactly at noon with the church bells. There are witnesses. That's right, he fired at clock noon. But the duel was set for high noon. They aren't the same thing. High noon is just when the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Depending on geography and the time of the year, it can be hours different from clock noon. McCready fired early, and that makes the duel illegal. So what do you say to that, Counselor? Felicity gives you a slow smile. I've got to hand it to you, Prosecutor Hunt. You're a lot better at this than I was giving you credit for. It's a good thought you had there. There's just one problem with it. Oh, what's that? I already thought it! Take that! She hurls a small book at you, which you just barely managed to catch. Yeah! What the heck is this? I did my homework. When I was preparing for that trial, my legal homework, since at that time I expected there would be an actual trial, not a gunfight, what you're holding there is a nautical almanac for the year 1878. There are bookmarks if you'd like to do the math yourself, but if you look up solar noon, aka high noon, for June 18th and make the adjustment for Reno's longitude, what do you get there? What do you think you get? You've got to be kidding me. That's right, Miss Prosecutor, 12 o'clock p.m. precisely. No! Well, damn. Nice try, though. I mean that, sincerely. Well, that's all my ammo. I can't think of any other way to disprove McCready's innocence. As far as I can see, it was a fair duel. Yes, and that's me with the guilt of an innocent man's death on my hands. An innocent man's death. You sure are good at repeating things people say. What if he didn't die? Say what now? Well, you didn't actually see the execution, right? Yes, well, I was indisposed, you might say, being dead and all. So you don't actually know whether or not it happened. Oh, come on, look. I appreciate the effort, but you're barking at the moon. Let me ask you something. The trial right after... was the trial right after the duel, the 19th. Ha, no. I don't know what Reno's like now, but it didn't have a proper courthouse then, and you can't try a murder charge in the sheriff's front parlor. McCready sat in jail for a couple of weeks and they transported him to Frisco. Well, with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until July 25th. Geez, so much for the right to a speedy trial. The wheels grind slow. What year? 1878, so July 25th. What can you tell him about McCready? He was a gunfighter, through and through, and by that I mean he was an adrenaline addict, and dueling was his needle of choice. Hell, if you told me you had evidence that he cheated at poker with the specific intent of baiting people into challenging him to duels, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. He was a sly one. Her expression softens and she sighs. Ugh, I make him sound like a real devil, that's not fair. He was smart and charming, and he could have been a good man if he'd chosen an entirely different life for himself. Anything else? Well, I recall he had a real good head for numbers. He told me that he never forgot a date, and every man he'd ever killed, he'd remember to pour a beer on their grave on their birthday. Well, that's nice. Nicer birthday present would have been not killing them in the first place, of course. Yep. Why did he invoke trial by combat? Assuming he was innocent, why would McCready invoke trial by combat? His case was pretty straightforward. The duel only worsened his odds. I was mighty surprised, let me tell you. The only thing I could figure was his damn fool sense of gunfighter's pride, or something like that, was the only form of justice he was willing to submit himself to. Okay, now we need to make use of the almanac. Let's see, July... What was it, 25th? That was when McCready's trial started. No special astronomical event as far as you can tell. Let's try July 24th then. There's something we're supposed to look up. Let's say on that day there was a moon and it was somewhere between new and full. Ah. Numbers? Come on, I know it's here somewhere. Let's see on a full moon, or new moon. Strange. Like I said, the prosecutor is one of the more convoluted ones. I know there's something I need to track down in order to get a date. Yeah, hold on, I'll be back. Okay, I looked it up. Seems that I have to ask, 19th, we'll grind slow. When was the execution? Well, we held the trial by combat on the 26th. That was a Friday. They don't execute prisoners on the weekend, so presumably it would have been following Monday, the 29th. In the morning? What with setting up the gallows and letting the crowd gather, they usually happen in the afternoon, around 3 typically. There we go. That was the date we needed to look up. That was the day when McCready was going to be executed. Let's see. Wow, wait a minute. According to this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day, centered right over the Western Territories, and with its totality at 2:47 p.m. That's a hell of a thing. Hey, I got a question for you. I looked up July 29th in your almanac. And get this, there was a total eclipse of the sun that day. What? Now you're just messing with me. No, look for yourself. Totality at 2:47 p.m. right over the Western Territories. Well, that's quite a thing, but I don't see how that affects... Wait, unless you're suggesting... Right, it was the perfect opportunity for McCready to escape. That's absurd. Absurd like a fox. You said it yourself that McCready was really good at remembering dates. He could have read about the eclipse at any time and stored that knowledge away for future use. Like to give himself an advantage in a duel or something. Alright, that's reasonable as far as it goes, but McCready couldn't have worked the eclipse into an escape plan because he didn't have any say over the court schedule. You said, what with one thing and another, the trial didn't start until July 25th. McCready could have caused any number of those delays himself by faking illness in prison or messing with the horses on the ride to Frisco or anything. This could also explain the trial by combat. You mean there ended up being too much delay, so if a regular trial went on too long and he was found guilty, he'd have missed the eclipse. Exactly, whereas if he called for a trial by combat, everything would be resolved one way or the other in only one more day. Maybe you'd win and that'd be fine, but if you lost, he could use his escape plan. I have to admit, this is pretty compelling, but it's all maybes and what-ifs. Yeah, maybe it happened, but maybe McCready was rescued by leprechauns. Oh man, are there leprechauns in Frisco? You need some kind of hard evidence before this is any more than just a fun story, is what I mean. Well, let me ask you something. How can I find evidence of McCready's escape? Well, we don't know that an escape even happened. True. Something that would have been in the news for certain. Okay, I'll see what I can find. I know I'm coming up on my time limit, but I'm going to keep going because we are actually getting very close to the end of the DLC. Let's see, you find bundles of old newspapers at the bottom of one shelf. The Frisco Newsinator. You start at the bottom of the stack and flip through them until you find the paper for the week of July 28th, August 3rd, 1878. The main feature has to do with the eclipse and various accidents and spectacles that occurred because most people weren't expecting it. The editor apologized for burying the announcement in the previous week's weather forecast. Most notably, all 3 men scheduled to be hanged on the 29th escaped in the confusion, and only 2 of them were recaptured. Unfortunately, their names aren't given. Keep looking. You don't find anything else relevant to the case. However, as you're putting the papers back in order on the shelf, a headline on more recent issues catches your eye. Husband of famous inventor missing. The article is light on information, but apparently Mrs. Gunn's husband, Dan, vanished on the road while traveling to Dirtwater on business about 6 years ago. Law enforcement suspected bandits, but no evidence was found. That's kind of grim. Now we gotta go back to her. Felicity Wainwright greets you with a gloomy nod. Hey, I got a question for you. I found a newspaper article. Which one? Well, let's see, one of them was never caught. Which one? Well, didn't say, did it? Nope. And executed criminals aren't given gravestones with their names on them, so you can't just go looking around Frisco Cemetery to find out. Listen, Talia, I really appreciate what you're trying to do, but at this point you would have to actually find McCready himself to prove he wasn't executed due to my failure. Well, I guess that's what I'll do then. Yes, for the first and only time in this DLC, we actually have to leave Gunn Manor in order to take care of this. Which, thankfully, we can do. Unlike many a DLC that keeps you trapped in the DLC location. In order to do this, we need to head for the post office. If you ask around, they'll tell you about different things. Hi, I'm Talia Hunt. Any mail from me? Yes, actually. Package for you. Here you are. Oh. Okay. Dear Sis, I thought you might be able to use this. Serpentine ring. This is a simple gold ring with a twisty little snake carved into it. Have more random encounters with snakes. Aw, thanks, Rufus. Hey, I'm trying to find a guy named McCready. There's a possibility he might have passed through here about 17 years ago. Passed through? They don't stamp passports here. Yeah, If he stayed for a while, I might have a forwarding address. Ooh, can you check, please? Alright, them books could use a dusting anyway. 1 sec, he pulls some big ledgers. She pulls some big ledgers out of her desk and blows a huge cloud of dust into the air, then starts leaping through them. 17 years, round about 78 then? 76, 77, 78. Mara and Mableston, McMurphy, McCready. Got it. Matt McCready. That the one? That's him! No forwarding address, but you could ask at his old place, just out to the northwest here. Let me see your map. Oh yeah, looks like you already got it here. Desert House. That's the one. Thanks. I'd like to send a postcard. A quick note to Rufus letting him know what you've been up to and that you're okay. That'll be... Oh, it's one of them prepaid ones. That'll be Zero Meat then. Thanks. Now, we need to head for Desert House, which, if you'll recall from my playthrough, was actually a place where we got a bounty. M. McCready, 1846 to 1887. Stuck to his guns. Dig him up. You dig until your shovel hits a wooden coffin and haul the lid open. The skeleton blinks at you. Well, it doesn't, but anyway. Howdy. Howdy, are you guilty, McCready? Well now, ain't heard that nickname in... What year is it? 1895. 17 years. No, I tell a lie, there was that one time 8 years ago. Same McCready that escaped the gallows during an eclipse? Well now, since the statute of limitations is expired, I might as well fess up. Yep, that was me. A real sweet plan too, apart from the one little hitch, went off smooth as silk. Even worked in a little misdirection to lead the law to them other two fellas instead of me. Serves them right too, they was real murderers, not like me, never killed a man except in a fair fight. Yeah, except for that one little hitch you mentioned. You miscalculated how long to delay the trial. So in order not to miss the eclipse, you called for a trial by combat. Oh, well, yep, that's the truth of it. You're blaming me for Miss Wainwright's death, I suppose. Why didn't you just trust her? She would have gotten you declared innocent. She had a real good head on her shoulders, sure, but so did that prosecutor fella. I didn't rate the odds better than 50-50. Not good enough. And anyway, the trial by combat was part of her job. She should have been ready. That stinks. She trusted you. She's a ghost now because she feels guilty about losing that trial. I spent ages trying to convince her you weren't innocent, and she backed you every step of the way despite the fact that you got her killed. And you don't even care? Hell, you bite your tongue, Missy. You don't know me. Don't care? I did what I felt I had to do to stay alive. And I felt damn guilty about what happened to Miss Wainwright. But I ain't taking all the blame for it, no ma'am. She'll tell you herself she should have been better prepared. Just like she told me the day apologizing with her last breath. I gave up gunfighting for her. Gave up the only thing I ever lived for. That's how I felt about it. You Gave up gunfighting? Weren't easy, but I did. Bought this house, bought this land, raised some chickens, and had a little vegetable garden. Place has gone to hell since I died. That's a shame. Anyway, I never fired my pistol again. Not even at that damn fence post. That's not what it says on your grave? Oh, heh. Read it again. That's the fella what killed me, having a little ironic joke, I reckon. Someone killed you? You're only the second person to track me down. First one was 9 years after the trial. Vic Timsbury's brother, hunting for revenge. What happened? He challenged me to a duel, and I told him I ain't doing that no more. He asked again, and I said no. And he hollered at me, and I took my pistol out of the closet and threw it at his feet so we could see how the cylinder was all rusted shut. And he cocked his gun and asked me one last time, and I said no. Last thing I remember was the bang. Jeez. Kind of him to bury me, though. Guess it weren't all bad. Do you want to see Felicity again? I can take you to her ghost. Nah, I reckon I'll just go back to sleep. Ain't right, a dead fella walking around. Just tell her sorry for me, alright? Here, you can give her my pocket watch. She'll recognize it. McCready's pocket watch. Plus 50% to meat gains and plus 40% to item finding bonus. That is very good if you can get it early on. Alright. Bye, McCready. So long, miss. Close the coffin and fill the hole back in. Alright, well, back to Dirtwater, and then... Well, I guess I'll see you guys back at the the defendant. Alright, time to put this ghost to rest once and for all. Felicity Wainwright. Are you ready for this? What now? I found McCready's grave. He wasn't executed. You're 100% certain it's him. Not some other man named McCready? It was him. Here, he gave me this watch to give you. She turns the watch around in her hands for a while, just looking at it without saying anything. Then she slowly whines and listens as it chimes the hour. Yes, this is his watch, all right. Thank you. Wait, you said he gave it to you? He's alive? Not exactly. He's a skeleton. We talked for a while, then he asked me to bury him again so we could go back to sleep. What did he say? He confirmed our guesses. He knew about the eclipse in advance and stalled the trial for his escape plan. But stalled it too long and decided to hedge his bets by calling for a trial by combat. I see. He gave up gunfighting. He what? Bought a little house and raised chickens. Never fired his pistol again. In fact, he left it to rust. 9 years later, Timsbury's brother caught up to him and challenged him to a revenge match. McCready refused repeatedly, so the guy shot him. He said to tell you he was sorry. She looks at you silently for a moment, then looks at the watch. She winds the hands back a minute, and then listens as it chimes again. She sighs, shakes her head, and then smiles at you. Thank you, Talia. You make a damn fine attorney. She shakes your hand and fades away from view. She does so, leaving her attorney's badge in your hand. Felicity Wainwright's attorney badge. One good turnabout deserves another. Melee attack damage, spell damage, pistol attack damage. Like I said, a lot of good stuff in this DLC. Rest in peace, counselor. Alright, let's talk to this guy. It's the 3 statues and Paul. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Shh, is the ghost still there? No, I took care of her. Oh, thank God. I've got to go wash this flower off and get back to work. But first, he starts frantically scratching at every part of his body. Man, feels like I've been saving up these itches for days. I was about to go crazy. Thanks, Talia, you're a lifesaver. No problemo. Hey, come see me at the visitor center. I'll hook you up with a souvenir photograph. Paul wanders off, still scratching. See ya. Well, that's all of the employees rescued. Before we go up to see Mrs. Gunn, I'm gonna briefly go down to the visitor center and get that photograph. See you there. Thanks again for your help. What an ordeal. No problem. How's the itching? More or less better. I mean, hygiene is what it is in this day and age, you know. Would you like a souvenir photograph? It's only 200 meat. Sure, I'll take one. Okay then, smile. Wait a second, this is a photograph of the house. Yep, an official Gunn Manor souvenir photo. This is a souvenir photograph of Gunn Manor. Looking at it reminds you of the time you visited Gunn Manor and bought a photograph of it. Why'd you take a picture of me then? Oh, that's just for our records. Okay. Sorry, only one photo per customer. Not sure what anybody would want to, but fair enough. Okay, now I'll see you back up on the 3rd floor. Oh wait, there's an old framed photograph of Mrs. Gunn on the wall with a little explanatory plaque underneath it. This photograph is of a young Mrs. Gunn, smiling as she accepts a fancy trophy from a man in a suit. A frowning man wearing a lab coat is standing behind her. Plaque reads, Terry Gunn and Assistant, accepting the 1869, why didn't we think of that? Award for Excellence in Inventing from the National Academy of Profitable Sciences. Yeah, something tells me that guy is going to be involved in this. Anyways, now I will see you back on the 3rd floor. Door is locked and no earthly force can open it. Well, maybe a whole team of forces, but good luck getting them up the elevator. Knock knock, yes, it's Talia and Florence, ma'am, the ghost hunters. Florence and Talia. Whatever. I do feel significantly less haunted. Did you get rid of all the ghosts? We sure did, ma'am. Actually, my scanner says there's still one. Shh. Yes, ma'am, all ghosts accounted for. Well, that's splendid. Come right on in. Thanks. Yep, she's a ghost, unsurprisingly enough. Hello, Mrs. Gunn. Hello, Talia, was it? Thank you so much for getting rid of all those ghosts for me. Yeah, about that. Turns out there's one left. Oh dear, well, I'll need you to take care of it before I can pay you. Mrs. Gunn, I've got some bad news for you. Oh, what's that? It's you. You're a ghost, ma'am. Well, I'll be. When did that happen, I wonder? My condolences. Why, thank you. You're very kind. You know, this does explain some things. Like what? Well, I haven't had any appetite for months. Nearly a year, in fact. They keep sending food up from the kitchen and dumbwaiter, but I've just been dropping it out the window and sending the empty plates back so the chef won't have her feelings hurt. That explains the pile of rotten stuff outside. There's also the fact that you're, well, translucent. Yes, I thought it was just cataracts. Mrs. Gunn, this prompts a question, you know. Oh, what's that? Why are you a ghost? Well, I'm sure I don't know. You're the expert. Perhaps you can tell me. Actually, that's me. I'm the expert. Do you have some kind of unfinished business? Something that's tying you to this place? Well, now that you mention it, yes, I suppose I do. Do you mind telling me about it? My entire family disappeared a few years ago. My husband and 3 daughters. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Sorry for your loss. The sheriff suspected they'd been kidnapped for ransom, but no one ever made any demands. They just vanished. I never found out what happened. I always thought they were taken away by ghosts. Why did you think that? I've always felt guilty about how many people have been killed by my invention. The belt buckle? The gun. Oh, right. I used to worry that their ghosts would come back and haunt me. When I built this house, I had an electrical anti-ghost field installed in the walls of this room so they couldn't get me. No way. Awesome. Wait, doesn't that affect you? Well, I'm sure it would if I attempted to walk through the wall, but it never occurred to me to try. Aha. After Dan and the girls disappeared, I became so sure that ghosts had gotten them that I locked myself in here. After donating the rest of the house to the Historical Society so that there'd be someone to look after the place. Now I feel rather silly about the whole thing. Silly? I mean, ghosts do exist, obviously. Well, yes, but now that I'm a ghost myself, I can sense the presence of other ghosts, and they only just arrived in this house yesterday, or the day before. That was when I called for an exterminator. You know, I didn't even question how I knew they were here, but I don't think there have been any ghosts here before then. Why did they all show up yesterday? I couldn't say. They all seemed very angry and confused. But since they couldn't get in here, they gave up and started just wandering around the house. They gave up quite easily, actually. Maybe because you were already a ghost yourself, Well, Mrs. Gunn, what are we going to do with you? What do you mean? You did contract me for 13 ghosts, ma'am. You're the 13th. Oh, yes, obviously I could simply renegotiate the number with you, but perhaps you should go ahead and exorcise me, or whatever you do. I'd rather find a more peaceful solution. Peaceful solution? What do you mean? Well, we can also release you from your ghostitude by solving the problem that's keeping you here. In your case, I guess that means finding out what happened to your family. Oh, well, I would be very grateful if you could. I assume they're dead, and to be honest, I think I've gotten used to that fact. But I surely would like to know what actually happened. Alright, I'll see what I can do. In order to take care of that, we need this. Break in case of attic. Attic opening stick. This is one of those sticks that you use to open trapdoor that you can't reach by hand. You'd think there'd be a punchy name for this object, but you'd be wrong. Let's see, all these books about gun parts, such as cylinder springs, extractor springs, and organ stops. Look in the mirror. Take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror and think about the things you've done. A lot of those things were pretty cool. Okay, now we need to actually head back to the billiards room. There's a trapdoor in the ceiling here, and you just happen to have the stick for opening it. Open it. Well, 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 what have we got here? Hey, who the heck are you? I'm Talia Hunt, but since I'm not the guy who's apparently hiding out in Mrs. Gunn's attic, I feel you ought to be the one answering that question. Who am I? Well, that's just friggin' typical. I'm Chet Bullet, damn it. Am I supposed to have heard that name before? Yes, you damn well should have. Mrs. Gunn's invention would have been nothing without mine. Wait, let me guess. You invented the bullet. Phew. I thought for sure you were going to say belt buckle again. Oh shoot, now I want to change my guess. You're damn right I invented the bullet, but I was her assistant, so did I get any of the credit? Hell no. Sounds like you've got an axe to grind. Not for much longer. Ah, jeez. Yeah, looks like we found the bad guy. Okay, Chet, go ahead and tell us the details of your whole nefarious plan. I don't care much for your tone. Why should I tell you anything? Well, if you don't want to take credit for whatever your genius plan is, I'm fine to let you languish in obscurity. Well, it's too late for you to stop me anyway, so I suppose it wouldn't hurt to tell you. Certainly not as much as not telling me would. When Mrs. Gunn dies, control of the company and patents passes to me. I'm no murderer, mind you. I'd like to keep my hands clean. Yeah. But I figured there might be some other people who'd have a bone to pick with her considering their manner of death. You summoned all the ghosts? That's right. All it took was some basic seance equipment, wired up to the house's belfry for amplification, a snap for a mechanical genius like me. But seance gear summons ghosts related to the summoner. That's the whole point of a medium, a person who knows how to direct their summoning on someone else's behalf. So you get to talk to your own grandma instead of the summoners. You don't seem like the medium type to me, more like a small... But that does explain something I've been wondering about. Oh, it didn't make any sense for all of the ghosts here to be haunting Mrs. Gunn, because some of them weren't killed by guns. They were all killed by bullets. Naturally, I anticipated that there'd be a couple of those. That's why I rigged this room with an anti-ghost field, which I cleverly boosted so that the ghosts wouldn't even sense me up here. So your plan was to summon a bunch of angry ghosts who would initially be looking for you, but would haunt Mrs. Gunn instead when they couldn't find you. Correct, and once they've haunted her to death, Gunn Industries will be all mine. Well, I hate to be the bearer of good news, but Mrs. Gunn is dead. On the bright side, she's been dead for a year, so you pretty much wasted your time. What, really? I'm rich! Now I just need to get out of here without all those ghosts spotting me. Yeah, the ghosts are gone too. So you're pretty much in the clear. Wonderful. The anti-ghost field is pretty effective. It was starting to make the back part of my brain itch. He flips a switch on an electrical device, and you suddenly become aware of the absence of an extremely low-frequency hum right on the edge of your hearing. Hey, there's something else I want to ask you about. Ask away. What happened to Mrs. Gunn family? Oh, them? They've been out of the picture for years. I heard a rumor Dan got killed by desperados and buried in a shallow grave out in the backside of nowhere. But of course I wouldn't actually know anything about that. Lucky for me, since I couldn't have inherited the company with him around. Or their daughters. Son of a... Relax, the girls are fine, I'm not a monster. I'm pretty sure you're a monster. Well, there's a weird little island kingdom somewhere on the other side of the ocean. Apparently it's stuck in some kind of bizarre temporal field that keeps nearly anyone from entering or leaving. I can't even find the place if you don't know how. Fortunately, I know a guy who knows how, so I gave the girls 3 free tickets to sleepaway camp. Wasn't that nice of me? You're an absolute bastard. Aw, that hurt my feelings. And fortunately, I'm about to have a whole lot of money to console myself with. Why, you. Hold on. We should talk to Mrs. Gunn first before you tear this ass a new hole. Huh? Thought she said she was dead. Depending on what she says, you might be too. Honestly, I'm surprised this guy doesn't try and make a run for it. Hi, Mrs. Gunn. Hello again. Have you managed to find anything? Yeah, I have good news and bad news. Go on, I'm ready. Chet Bullet had your husband killed and your daughters kidnapped, so he'd be the sole inheritor of your company when you died. He's also the reason all the ghosts were here. That son of a... I should have suspected something when he suddenly started being so ingratiating back then, when he wrote off desperados on his expense account. I'd write him out of my will, but I suppose it's too late. It's rather galling. What's the good news? He says your daughters are safe. They're just on a magical island, somewhere that nobody can get to. Kingdom of Loathing. It's not exactly comforting, but at this point I'll take it. Plainly, if he'd wanted to kill them, he'd have just done so. Wait, you spoke to him personally? Yeah. He didn't know you were already dead, so he's been hiding in your attic for the last couple of days, waiting for the ghost to kill you. What do you want me to do with him? I'll leave it up to you. I'm not in any state to make any reasoned judgment. In any case, you've answered my questions, and I can feel myself moving on already. Thank you for all your help. With a sad wave, Mrs. Gunn fades from view. Then, almost as an afterthought, the lock on her desk drawer pops open. Inside, you find a check written out to Cunningham Ghost Annihilation Services, which Flo snags with a cha-ching, and a blueprint. Mrs. Gunn's blueprint. This blueprint represents what could have been the crowning achievement in Mrs. Gunn's career if she actually hadn't died before actually getting it into production. Alrighty. And we can actually do something with that. Something that I will see you in the cellar for. Don't worry, we're almost done. Okay, in the cellar, that workbench that we worked on earlier, make Mrs. Gunn's opus. It's a bench covered in gunsmithing tools. You follow the direction on Mrs. Gunn's blueprint and construct her final gift to the world. This is the best gun. Mrs. Gunn never got the chance to make. You vowed to commit so much violence in her name. Or we would if we could. Let's see. 18 to 23, 20 to 25. Definitely much better. We could also put a silencer on it, but I'm not going to. A gun like this deserves to be heard. But we're still not done yet. We've still got to take care of Chet Bullets. Now, we can fight him, but that won't get us the best possible ending. Also, in his fight, he has got a bunch of ammo boxes around him that you can shoot at. Instead, we need to walk past him. Holy cow, those are some really big bells hanging above you. This house has the biggest bells of them all. AC/DC reference, if I recall correctly. Science doohickeys, which are kinda useless at this point. What's the skinny compadre? Found something for you. Ooh, I love sciencey junk, thanks. Hey, look at this. It's one of the new Eldritch vacuum batteries. Magi-Mech Tech is making. I didn't think they were available in this region yet. Florence shoves one of the science doohickeys you gave her into her weird backpack. Florence's gun damage has been increased. New skill, Beta Blast. Now, I want to actually talk to Florence about the current situation. I've had enough of this guy. My trigger finger is itching. Does that science rifle work on regular people? Oh yeah, nightmarishly well. Well, you might get a chance to scratch that itch. No, she won't. Because in order to get the best possible ending, we need to help the ghosts get, revenge. This looks like maybe it operates a large bell hanging above you. Ring the bells. In order to do this, we need to set up a code. And that code has been given to us throughout the entire game. B O. Come on, it's around here somewhere. I know that much. O. As the eerie sound of the bells fades away, ethereal outlines begin to appear around you and resolve one at a time into familiar spirits. Monsieur Lardest, and then the lady who was running the Boo and Breakfast, and the librarian. You know, you really didn't get very many of their names. Maybe you should be better about introducing yourself to people. Anyway, you're soon surrounded by a small crowd of ghosts, with Mrs. Gunn being the last to arrive. This is the bell tower in my house, Talia. What happened? Yeah, nice to see you again, but what's up, counselor? I suppose you're all wondering why I've summoned you here today. I did just ask that, yes. Well, I've come into some information that I think you all might be interested in. This won't take long, will it? I need to get back to the afterlife. What's the hurry? I've got an all-you-can-eat buffet with every kind of meat, in nugget form. Oh my gosh. You unholster your pistol and slowly put it against your temple. Can't get there that way, you dummy. Rats. Well, that was dark. You put the gun away again. Anyway, let me explain. Felicity, how did you feel when you got here? Originally, I mean. Well, I I remember being very angry. I wanted revenge for my death, but the feeling went away pretty quickly, and I couldn't remember why I'd felt like that. I'm not the vengeful type. It doesn't even really make sense in your case. Yes, exactly. I never bore any ill will toward the prosecutor that shot me. Was it basically the same for the rest of you? Just like that, yes. Myself as well. Me too. Thought so. Well, here's the deal. You are all summoned here for the explicit purpose of taking revenge on Mrs. Gunn. Attendees! I was not killed by the gun. I wasn't either. Yeah, some of you weren't. The summoning happened based upon your connection to the summoner himself, Chet Bullet, the inventor of the bullet. But he was hiding with anti-ghost technology and assumed that enough of your deaths would be gun-related that you'd turn your attention on Mrs. Gunn instead. Well, that's just dirty pool, and I should know, considering I got shot for playing dirty pool. Oh yeah, we never did actually learn how that guy died. The thing is, he didn't know that Mrs. Gunn was already a ghost, so with nobody to take revenge on, you all just reverted to your regular state of mind. Huh, well I appreciate the info, but was it really necessary to call us all back just to tell us that? What I really wanted to tell you is that Chet Bullet has turned off his anti-ghost field. He's over there, at the other end of the attic. No, I'm not going to make any noise about how he's ultimately responsible for all of your deaths, because that would both be crazy and also belittle the actual circumstances of your death. But Chet Bullet murdered Mrs. Gunn's husband, kidnapped her daughters, and attempted to use you all to kill Mrs. Gunn herself, so if y'all are interested in a little frontier justice, 13 is a pretty good number for a posse. The ghosts all turn to look at each other, and their eyes begin to glow red. The hunter is the first to leave the circle, closely followed by the poacher. Soon they've all left, except for Felicity Wainwright and Mrs. Gunn. Mrs. Gunn looks hesitant for a moment, then seems to make up her mind. She gives you a stern nod, then follows the others. You turn away and soon hear a man screaming, but the sound quickly decreases in volume as though you were being pulled a great distance away. And then it's gone entirely. I figured you wouldn't be into it, Felicity. Yeah, despite everything, I still believe in the rule of law. Didn't see you trying to stop them, though. Nope. No, you certainly didn't. Well, I won't keep you any longer. Happy trails, Counselor. You too, Counselor. She fades away with a wink. All's well that ends well. Well, that's it. You reckon that your careful recon of the situation has brought some true reckoning to Gunn Manor. Congratulations on getting the best ending. Feel free to wander around the grounds and enjoy the scenery. Maybe wrap up some loose ends, but otherwise you're pretty much done here. Thanks for playing a little Reckonin at Gunn Manor. Yep, that's pretty much it. There's just a weird black scorch mark on the floor where Chet was standing. Buzz, Florence. Wow, I've never seen ghosts do that to anyone. I ain't even real sure what they did. Maybe you should start trying this diplomacy thing, eh? Or maybe I should shoot them even faster. Jeez, Florence, come on. Nah, I'm just joking. You've done a real good job here. It's been an eye-opener. Glad to hear it. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this actually affects the ending theater, but I'm gonna go check anyways. If not, like if it doesn't affect it, then I'll just cut away, and I'll just do my regular outro then. Ah, here we go. There is something here. Thanks to you, Gunn Manor reopened and delighted tourists for centuries. The residual positive psychic energy created by the ghosts you hope leaked into the local water supply. In the decades to come, the businesses that sprang up near the manor were characterized by their environmentally friendly policies and charitable giving. Whoa. Yeah, Gunn Manor. Thriving. See? It pays to be diplomatic. Even if it can be a pain in the behind sometimes. Let's see. Yeah, there's bakery. Pretty sure there's nothing else here, so I'll just skip ahead to the end of it and, well, do my regular outro. Well, that's it. Nothing else was new in there besides the Gunn Manor slide, so with that we have come to an end of West of Loathing. I'm wondering, how long is this? Yeah, I probably could have split it up into 2 episodes, but I'll just treat it as a long finale. Actually, maybe I should split it up into 2 episodes. Yeah, that's probably what I should do. Alright, in that case, you're going to get an extra episode next week. Though, as I'm saying this, it doesn't matter. Oh well. But anyways, with that, I am going to end this off here. If you guys like what you see, please leave a like, subscribe for future content. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to get notifications for when I upload, or to hit the straw poll link to vote for our next Let's Play. And please, leave a comment down below this video. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching.